Welcome to the Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. I'm one of your two co-hosts, Brandon.
And with you as always is Tyler.
Tyler, what episode number is this?
This is number 44.
44. Oh my goodness. You know, if we do these once a week, that almost equals like 52 weeks. We've almost been doing this a year.
We have. We're closing in on the 1 year mark. We'll have to have a big party to celebrate.
Yeah, maybe we'll have an ice party. We have plenty of ice outside right now. But in this show, Tyler, we're going to talk about UK's win versus Auburn, Terrence Clark, unemployment, Trump's acquitted, Larry Flint, and viral videos, Tyler. And to top it off at the end, we're going to talk about the movies that scarred us as children.
Oh, we are. I'm not sure if I'm ready for that.
Well, if you want to know how Tyler and I ended up the way that we are, this should be a good indicator for our listeners.
Yeah, I think this is going to explain a lot for our listeners, for our wives. They are going to know why we are the way that we are.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to that one, Tyler. I mean, I'm really excited. We got a jam-packed show. As always, follow us at LexBuds on Twitter, LexBuds.com, and just type the word LexBuds into any internet machine you find, and we will probably pop up somewhere. I tell you where we're popping up right now, Tyler, on Facebook. Our latest video, our sure to be number one smash single, John Calipari Can't Even Get Us to the NIT, has garnered over 10,000 views in just a matter of days. Are you aware of that? 10,000 seems like a lot, and it's not slowing down.
That's quite a lot. I think it's resonated with a lot of people because we hit on pretty much every complaint that we have heard from the fan base this season and rolled it into one 4-minute song.
It was like a greatest hits album in one song. It's like every complaint from a pregame, postgame call-in show and a comment section jammed into one song. If you haven't seen that yet, go on our website, lexbuds.com. Check out the video. I mean, I think our singing was impeccable. I enjoyed it, and apparently it's resonated with people. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, your guitar playing was also exceptional, Brandon. Nice acoustic version. If you haven't heard it, it's a parody of Guns N' Roses' song "Sweet Child of Mine."
Yes,
and Brandon rocked it on the acoustic guitar.
My favorite response comment that we got was down in the comments. Somebody said, "I hate this, but I laughed until I cried." That is exactly what I was shooting for, or we were shooting for with that. We want people to be like, "Oh man, that hurts," but man, it's funny. That is the best compliment I think we could ever get.
I agree. It was kind of like that Jim Valvano speech when he said, if you think, you laugh, and you cry in one day, that's a good day. That's a heck of a day. Well, we got that guy to do all those things in 4 minutes.
That's true. That's very true. That's very impressive. Tyler, before we get going into the show, just tell me how your overall week has been, your frozen week in Kentucky.
Dude, this sucks. I'm already sick of snow, and I'm sick of ice. And we're sitting here recording on a Sunday afternoon, just waiting for round 2 and then round 3 later in the week. You can't get salt anywhere. I drove all over town yesterday looking for a bag of salt. Everybody's sold out. Nobody knows when they're getting more salt in. So there's nothing I can do for my driveway or my sidewalks. It's just going to be, survival of the fittest to get into my house from now on. I actually had to go out, and since we didn't have salt, I took a hammer and just started beating the driveway with a hammer to try to break through the ice.
Yeah.
And if you think shoveling your driveway sucks, hammering your driveway sucks even more. I didn't think there was anything I could hate more than shoveling my driveway, but hammering it has definitely surpassed it.
I would love to get some closed-circuit TV footage of you hammering your driveway. People either thought you were losing it or thinking, wow, that guy's really dedicated. On the opposite end, Tyler, from driving to my home studio here today that my driveway has not been hammered.
Yours is not any better. No.
No, it's an absolute disaster. In fact, Tyler, I walked out to take out my trash, just a normal activity.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I went out to take out my trash. I got 2 trash bags. I walk in the grass because it's safer. Right. How can you fall? How would you fall in the grass? And of course, each blade of grass is covered in like an inch of ice, and it's pointy. Well, of course, it's a complete sheet of ice. I slip and fall, and I catch myself with my hands. And if you look at my hands now, I've got
some punctures there.
I got punctured in my hand from catching myself on the grass. I got stabbed by grass, Tyler. That's how my week has went. I look down at my hands, and I've got blood going down the palms of my hands.
That's crazy.
From grass.
From nice, soft grass.
Other than that, my week's been great, too.
Yeah.
And I love how this is coinciding with Fayette County Public Schools going back to in-person. I think I'm not a conspiracy. Actually, I'm a conspiracy theorist somewhat. I don't know which ones. I don't know if this is a conspiracy theory or not, but do you think it was coincided with the impending ice storm?
Man, I tell you what, the odds of this happening are just impeccable.
You wait 11 months.
And then the week that you're supposed to reopen,
Jeez.
we come off ice storm number 1 and set into number 2 and number 3. Kids are never going back to school.
No.
There's a curse.
And it's funny because now they won't have, I guess they won't have virtual learning. They're just going to cancel school. So now they don't even get any kind of school. So it's just like, wow, this is like leftover 2020 to me.
You can't win. Yeah, it is. 2021 is not off to a much better start.
No, it's not. But you know what's going to be off to a great start, Tyler? This show, we have got a lot to cover.
That's right.
And I say we just dig right in. Do you want to start with sports first?
Yep, let's do it. We got a win to talk about here, Brandon.
What is that?
Well, the good news, Kentucky basketball is now bowl eligible as the Cats picked up their 6th win of the season yesterday, beating the Auburn Tigers 82-80. We almost saw another collapse again. Kentucky had built a 12-point lead with about 6 minutes to go. You think, okay, we may actually have this in hand, and then they immediately collapse. Auburn comes back to tie the game, and then Davion Mintz comes through with a dagger, as Calipari said, hits a 3 to put the Cats ahead. Brandon, what are your thoughts on the game, and does this give you any optimism that we could win the SEC tournament?
Short answer, no. And let me explain why. Because I can't count on us hitting more than 10 three-pointers every single game during the SEC tournament to win. We eked out a win over a team that, while we were playing them, was one game over 500. Okay? This isn't a cause to celebrate. Like you said, we're bowl eligible. We got 6 wins. But let's be honest. We hit some shots that we never hit. We scored 52 points in the second half. There are some games where we barely scored 52 points in the entire game.
True.
So if you're telling me to bank on the fact that we're just going to hit a barrage of threes every single game to win the tournament, I say no. And we still had the collapse at the end. Luckily, we had a big enough lead this time. That's been the problem before. We never had a big enough lead. So obviously, we need at least a 12-point lead with 6 minutes left to go, or we're going to blow it. And we almost blew it on the last play of the game. Auburn's down 5 points. What's the one thing you don't do with 1 second left, down 5 points?
You don't foul on a 3-point shot.
What did we do? Fouled on a 3-point shot. So made two free throws, and it was an interesting strategy to go ahead and make the third. I thought they should have intentionally missed it, but whatever. But it just shows you, at every attempt, we try to find a way to lose the game at the end. So between the fact that we never score 52.5, there's no way we're going to be that consistent from the 3-point line, and the fact that we tried to give it away every chance we got the last 6 minutes, I'm still not bought in. We beat a team that was one game over 500. I'm glad we didn't lose, but I'm not over-enthused that we won against that team.
Wow, Debbie Downer over here after a win. My goodness. I do think you raise a good point with the 3-point shooting. In the last 2 games, Kentucky is 25 out of 50. 50% from the 3-point line the last 2 games. They made 14 against Arkansas and somehow still lost.
Yeah.
Would you have ever thought this team could make 14 threes and still lose? And then we come back, we had 11 against Auburn. But let me tell you a statistic I saw after the game yesterday that blew my mind.
Okay, blow my mind, Tyler. I'm ready to listen.
On the season, UK is now shooting a better percentage from the 3-point line than its opponents.
Excuse me?
After the last 2 games, we are now shooting 32.7% from 3, and we are holding our opponents to 31.6% from 3.
Wow.
Can you believe this team is shooting better from the 3-point line than its opponents? That blew me away.
That is kind of crazy, Tyler. It's hard to believe, but I guess when you go 25 for 50 over a short stretch, it kind of adds up a little bit. That is surprising, though.
Yeah, it made a big difference, and heaven, my goodness, what happened to B.J. Boston these last couple games? He made 5 threes yesterday.
Well, and this is the player we thought he was going to be, Tyler. Let's be honest. When we looked at his high school mixtapes, which I am going to stop watching the daggum high school mixtapes. Ball is life. Here's B.J. Boston shooting 53s. He makes all of them in the mixtapes, Tyler. I've watched them. He makes every single one, never misses.
That is amazing.
How convenient. So I'm going to stop watching those, but this is the player that I thought we were going to get. I'm still concerned about him driving to the hoop and being tough going to the basket, because that's where he's going to have to earn his playing time and help us out. But I'll take 5 threes. I'm not upset about that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, where has this guy been all season? then you talk about some clutch shooting in the last 2 games from Davion Mintz. I mean, he hit what we thought would have been the game winner against Arkansas earlier in the week. And then, of course, Kentucky happened. But then he hits another big 3. He also hit the big 3 earlier in the year to put us ahead against Vanderbilt. Is he becoming this team's go-to guy? If you need a basket in the last seconds, is Mintz now our go-to guy for those possessions?
Well, there's 2 things that you said that kind of upset me, Tyler. Actually, there's 2 things, I guess 2 different ways. I'm glad that we have somebody that can hit the shot. I'm upset that you have to say that we had to have 2 big baskets to beat a barely above 500 Auburn team and Vanderbilt. Okay, so those 2 things really hurt me, but I'm glad that somebody's finally stepping up, and it looks like Boston may step up too, to be honest. I mean, he's hitting shots. That'll give him confidence. Maybe he'll turn into that player. I hope he does. He's got potential, but you know what really scares me, Tyler, is we've seen this before. Right when guys start to turn it around, then they leave. So are we going to get to see him for like 3 more weeks and that's it?
Oh, I think
he's finally figured it out. Oh, wait, he left.
Yep.
And that is kind of the crux of the problem, and why we created the song that we did last week on our show, is that we feel like, we're just getting to know these guys. They're finally doing something, and then they just pull the rug out from under you.
Yeah.
And it hurts.
Yep.
I'm worried that's going to happen.
And same with Isaiah Jackson. Like, he got his first double-double of the season against Auburn. 18 points, 11 rebounds, looked fantastic.
Yep.
And, comes into his own in mid-February, and then we get a month of good play, and then he's gone, most likely. So,
other than that, everything's good, though. Right?
Yeah.
We get a month of good basketball every year. Great.
Well, which kind of leads us into our next topic. At least we have gotten a good month possibly out of Jackson and Boston. Brandon, talk about who we're not going to get a good month out of for the next 4 weeks.
Are you serious, Clark? Tyler, John Calipari confirmed that 5-star point guard Terrence Clark is going to be out another 4 weeks due to a lingering ankle injury. And doing some quick math, Tyler, just off the top of my head,
okay.
4 weeks. 4 weeks.
That's about a month.
Mid-February. What time's this? Okay. That's going to put us to the end of the season. So basically, he's out through the end of the season, unless we somehow get into the NCAA tournament and maybe he gets in. We don't know. But, of course, we've been told lots of times, he's a few games away. This time, a definitive 4 weeks out. Tyler, what are your thoughts on Clark, and are you having any visions of Jared Vanderbilt?
Well, I would also like to share some personal injury news. I was actually scheduled to run the 400 meters in the Summer Olympics this summer, but I just got the diagnosis from my doctor. I'm going to be out until August 9th with this leg injury. Unfortunately, the Olympics end August 8th, so I'm just going to miss it again.
Yeah, that was going to be on our website, too. Yeah. That was going to be a big push for us.
Yeah, so sorry. I will not be running in the Summer Olympics because this injury's just going to be long enough to prevent me from doing it.
Just missed it.
Brandon, here's my thoughts on this.
Okay.
Either one of 2 things is true here. Number one, nothing has changed with the injury, and this is just UK's way of covering it up to say he's not going to play. He's just getting ready for the draft. Or 2, we have the shittiest doctors of any team in college basketball.
Well, Tyler.
Which either is concerning, but I mean, what could they have possibly found out 2 months later? Okay, you do an X-ray, hey, you do an MRI, you do CT, like all these things. They should have, every possible test that could have been done on Terrence Clark should have already been done. What could they have possibly discovered 2 months later? They're like, he's going to be out for another month. When before they didn't find anything.
Yeah.
So you're telling me it took UK's doctors 2 months to find something that was wrong with him?
Well, and this comes right on, let's not forget, Tyler, this comes right on the heels of John Calipari. I think it was during one of the post-game shows where he said, all the imaging shows that there's nothing wrong. The doctors say he can play, but if he's hurt, I can't play him. Insinuating that the doctors have basically said, hey, we can't find anything wrong. A week or 2 later, it comes back, well, the doctors found something so devastating he can't play the rest of the season. Maybe they had interns in that week they were initially doing this stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not sure what it is, but I tell you what I think they found, Tyler.
Okay.
You know what the doctors found?
Oh, you got some insight here?
Yeah, well, again, allegedly. I think the doctors probably found that his draft stock was falling, and they didn't want him to play. I think that's what they found, to be honest with you. I'm having direct visions of Jared Vanderbilt, and that's the problem. When you poison the water with the Jared Vanderbilt situation, it has ripple effects that are going to last a long time. I'm not going to say 100% certain on that. I'm not even going to say 50-50, but I can't get that thought out of the back of my head. You know what I mean? It's like we've seen this movie before. I feel like it's a sequel. And what Calipari did with Vanderbilt tainted the water, it poisoned the water, and it's going to, infiltrate a certain part of our fan base, and I just can't get that thought out of my head. I hope that's not the case. I feel bad for Clark if he is injured, but, you poison the water once, it makes me question things the next time.
Yep, 100%.
Fool me once, shame on... Never mind, we're not going to go down that road. Yeah, we're not going down that road.
All right, Brandon, pop quiz for you. Can you tell me what was the number one song in December of 1961?
Oh, yeah, that would be the old classic hit. It's 1961?
Yeah, you got any guesses?
I'm going to guess it was an Elvis song.
No, it was actually The Lion Sleeps Tonight.
Oh, man.
And
how does that go, Tyler? Keep going. Okay, go on.
But I bring this up because that was the last time that an AP Top 25 poll didn't include at least one of Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, North Carolina, or UCLA until this past week when the AP pollers released none of those 5 teams. 40 years. So,
that's a long time.
Sorry, 60 years.
60
I
years.
got to work on my math. 60 years since it last happened. So, Brandon, with all of these lions of college basketball sleeping through the season, does it make you feel any better about Kentucky's struggles?
No. No, not at all. I mean, are we the needle, or do we just blend in? As far as I know, Cal said we are the needle. We are the gold standard. We don't measure the gold standard by the silver standards. Correct? Mm-hmm. If we are the movers and the shakers of college basketball, I don't care what they're doing. Now, do I like it when Duke loses? Yes, I do. I get almost as happy as I do when Kentucky wins. But Kansas, North Carolina, I don't care about them. They don't mean anything to me. I mean, I know they're up there in the blue blood programs, but I could care less. I got to measure it by what our standards are as a Kentucky program. Calipari has taught us to do that. However, I guess we're supposed to forget all that now, that we're not doing as well. But we're the standard. We measure against the history of Kentucky, not what everybody else is doing.
Well, I mean, do you think there's anything to the fact that all these teams are now struggling in the same year as the pandemic? Do you think this is just a one-off for all these teams, or do you think there's a bigger picture issue for all that? Because it's every blue blood: Kentucky, Kansas, Carolina, Duke. Everybody's struggling.
Well, I think some of it has to do with crowds, right? I mean, the crowds at home events at the blue blood programs create some sort of built-in advantage because you will have players on the other team that just wilt under that pressure.
Right.
And then our players don't feed off that. So I think there's something to it. But no, I think it's just a weird coincidence. This isn't a one-off, by the way. We've missed the tournament before. This is a two-off for us. Okay, we're not on one-offs anymore. This is a two-off, and it just sucks. We got to measure against ourselves. We can't worry about what Kansas is doing.
Yeah, that's true. I get that.
I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's some kind of systemic underlying problem with these specific blue blood programs that's causing a problem this year?
Well, I think you do. If we're just looking big picture, I mean, most of these teams are heavily reliant on freshmen that had less training time in the off season, fewer exhibition games, fewer warm up games. So just thinking big picture, I mean, there's if we're looking at what's the common trend here amongst all these teams, it's that they're reliant on freshmen who didn't have as much preparation time to get ready for the season.
Could be. I don't know. It's a weird year, man. That's all I know. It's been the weirdest year of college basketball that I think I've ever seen.
No doubt.
Tyler, it looks like we may get some help on the wide receiver front next year as former 4-star 2019 recruit Tre'von Morgan is transferring from Michigan State to the UK Wildcats to help with our wide receiver core, which needed much assistance would be a nice way to put it. He only played in one game last year, caught 2 passes, but he was the number 1 rated prospect out of Ohio when he came out of high school. Tyler, what do you think about this? Are you as excited as I am?
I'm jacked. You said he only caught 2 passes, but one of those was for a touchdown. So I'm spinning that to say he catches a touchdown on 50% of his catches.
Man, that is some good spin, Tyler. We need to put you in UK public relations. That's amazing.
Yeah, just put me on Fox News or MSNBC.
You can spin with the best of them, man. But, I mean, it is exciting, right? Because our receiver core was pretty rough last year, and with the return of Josh Ali, really our only playmaker from last year, it can't be a bad thing to add somebody else that was so highly touted out of high school especially, and who catches a touchdown pass 50% of the time. We're not overdoing it, are we? Should we set our expectations lower?
Well, here's what I'm excited about. This dude is 6'7".
That's big.
6'7".
That's big.
And we talked about a few weeks ago when we talked about Wan'Dale Robinson coming, that we've got a lot of playmakers. We got a lot of speed.
Yeah.
We've got Ali. We've now got Robinson. We got Chris Rodriguez in the backfield. But what we've always been missing is that one wide receiver who can just out-jump everybody. You know, when you're in the red zone and just need to throw a ball up for somebody to make a play, we've never had a guy like that. And now we potentially do. So when you add this guy in to all the speed and the playmaking ability of the other guys around him, that makes me really excited for what our offense can do this year.
Well, and it's a good point to bring up. Let's remember Ahmad Flagner.
Yes.
Ahmad White. It's, if nothing else, it's a person that you can go to in short yardage situations at the goal line and throw the ball up and get a flag.
Yep.
Throw it up in the end zone. 50-yard bomb at the end of the first half. Oh, we got a flag. You know what? Those kind of plays can help out too, especially when you're trying to compete in the SEC. You need every advantage you got. So now we've got speed. We've got a tall receiver. We've got the best running back probably in the SEC. The only question I have left now is quarterback. Obviously, we have a new transfer from Penn State. We've got the two guys that were already here. Somebody's got to take that lead and distribute the ball to these playmakers. So I've got to see something there. That's the only thing that concerns me, is that is the unproven part, and that is the part of the game that has to get the ball to all of these players that we're adding on. So I don't know how that's going to go.
Yep. It'd be interesting to see who ends up with a higher win total, our basketball team or our football team for 2021.
Oh, boy. It's going to be interesting. Tyler, that was an interesting first segment. Segment 2, we are going to talk the Trump impeachment trial, the unemployment system, some national anthem debate, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and more.
And more. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Stay tuned. We'll see you right after the break. Welcome back. Segment 2, Lex Buds and Pick and Roll podcast. As always, follow us on Twitter at LexBuds. Check out our website, lexbuds.com. And keep in mind, in segment 3, we are going to talk about the movies that scarred us as children, Tyler. So stick around for segment 3. It's going to be a good one. But before we do that, we got to get through this segment. Segment 2, we're going to talk about the news that everybody is interested in today, because that's what we do here. Tyler, what do we have up first?
All right, well, the big news, national news coming out yesterday, former President Donald Trump. Well, I really like saying that, former President Donald Trump. Sorry.
Please don't turn us off yet. Please go on, Tyler.
Former President Donald Trump's second impeachment trial closed on Saturday. The Senate voted 57-43 in favor of convicting Trump on charges of inciting the deadly riots at the Capitol in January, but that 57 vote mark fell short of the 67 votes that were needed. Mm-hmm. Brandon, you have been very critical on this show of the first impeachment trial of President Trump. What were your thoughts on this one and the outcome?
It's tricky because to me it's like apples and oranges. Okay, it's tricky. The first impeachment trial, in my opinion, completely trivialized impeachment, and we'll probably do it forever because now we just want to impeach everybody before they even get into the office. I think it opened up a can of worms that was a disaster, and it was not needed. And that's my opinion. The second go-around, as I mentioned before, I don't know what Trump thought was going to happen on January the 6th. Even if you gather everybody, what's the best-case scenario? Right? Not good. Now, did he implicitly say go in and break into the Capitol? No, but he set the table, right? He set the table, had a bunch of angry people in Washington on a day where they were counting electoral votes. I can understand why they didn't convict because he never explicitly said, go do this.
Right.
He said march. He did say peacefully. And of course, that always gets edited out, but that's another story for another day. But he did say to march, even though he ended up getting in a car and riding and never marched. So I understand that he didn't directly say, go do this. And I think the country just needs to move on. These impeachments are just getting ridiculous. Now we're trying to impeach Bashir. And, I'm no fan of Bashir, but, it's just, can we just stop trying to impeach everybody you don't like? This is reserved for, super big things, in my opinion. Now,
Right.
Did I like what happened at the Capitol? Hell no. I thought it was ridiculous. But if you're asking if he directly said to people to go do it, unless I saw evidence of that, then no. I thought
Right.
it was a good call. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So what this means, kind of big picture, if you haven't been following the story or read much about it, had he been convicted here, he would not have been able to ever run for federal office again. But since they didn't get the 67 votes, theoretically, Trump could run again. So this was a very important decision for Trump's, for his future if he decides he wants to have a political future. Not shockingly, this was a pretty much partisan vote, just as everything else is. All 50 Democrats voted to convict. 43 of the 50 Republicans voted to keep innocent.
Yep.
7 switched and went along with
including
the Democrats.
Mitt Romney was probably the most vocal of those, or most prominent of those, I guess I should say.
But I think the most interesting case is, of course, Kentucky's own Mitch McConnell.
Of course.
Who, once again, this guy drives me crazy, Brandon.
Yeah.
The absurdity of his reasoning. He voted not guilty. Is that how you say not guilty, or just vote no? Whatever the vote was.
Yay or nay. Yeah. I don't know what it is.
I guess he voted nay.
Uh-huh.
And then later said that he did think Trump was to blame for the riot. So why didn't he vote yes then if he thinks Trump is to blame for the riot?
But if you remember what I said, Tyler, I think that if he doesn't have that rally on that day, then it doesn't happen. So is he technically responsible? He had the rally, he set the table. But did he directly tell people to march and break into the Capitol?
Well, Mitch McConnell said that he thought Trump was responsible for it.
It depends on the definition of responsible.
Voted...
I'm no Mitch McConnell fanboy, right? But I think maybe he's saying, he's the one that set the table and offered it up on a silver platter, but he didn't directly do it. So in a way, he is responsible, but in another way, he's not directly responsible. Does that make sense?
No.
I mean,
it doesn't.
That makes sense to me.
I just want people to vote what they truly believe. What
if I cast my vote for that
and not just vote
Tyler?
For the party?
I agree with you.
It drives me crazy.
It's not going to stop.
And then he also, he said part of the reason that he voted no is because he thinks an impeachment trial is to remove someone from office. He doesn't think he just doesn't really think impeachment should be done after someone leaves. Oh, well, that's great. So what he's saying is we should have tried him while he was still president. But who was the person who held that up so that they couldn't try Trump before he left? Remind me again, who held that process up? Oh, yeah, Mitch McConnell.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you cleared that up.
God, this guy drives me nuts.
That's all right, Tyler. Anything else you want to say about
No,
that?
I'm good.
No, that's good. I'm glad we got that out of our system. Tyler, you remember the old saying, "You've got mail"?
Oh, yeah, that was the Tom Hanks movie, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Kentucky State Unemployment Office employees have probably heard that daily on repeat because a recent audit found that they had over 400,000 unread emails at the state unemployment office, this coming on the heels of thousands of Kentuckians not being able to receive their unemployment benefits, Tyler. Whoa, boy. Do you think some of these people in the unemployment office need to join the line to get the benefits? What are your thoughts?
Well, there are going to be at least 400,000 and one in line, I guess, if they do that.
Yeah, no kidding.
I can't even fathom 400,000 emails.
Yeah.
I mean, when I start to get so many emails, when you scroll down your inbox, when you have to scroll down, it starts to make me get nervous. Like when I get to the point that I can't see all the emails at once, I start freaking out. So I can't imagine seeing 400,000. Yeah. Which 125,000, that's probably spam. So
that was my question. What do you think these 400,000 emails are? Because maybe they're not all requests or questions about benefits. What do you think it could be? Do you think somebody signed up to be on like the Kohl's email list or the Macy's list, and they're just getting daily updates from Kohl's, like, hey, use $30 in Kohl's cash, save 25% off Macy's? What do you think it is?
You joke, but I legitimately, I'm sure, when it was let's see, Adam Edlin is the guy who did the audit, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he didn't go through each of the 4,000 to make sure none of that was spam. He's just looking at the total number. So I'm sure there is, some truth to that. But yeah, the disorganization at the unemployment office in our state, that's just very concerning. Bashir said that a lot of the technology is out of date, needs to be updated. He said there was a lot of confusion from federal policy that wasn't clear to each individual state as how they were supposed to handle it.
Time out. Can I call BS? Email's been around for years, Tyler. What kind of training and technology do you need to hit open?
Yeah. That's true.
Okay, stop trying to blame it on everything else. He needs, or not you, I'm saying Bashir. He needs to stop trying to blame it on everything else. When you shut down or limit the state's ability to do business, you better have Plan B ready to rock and roll. And it's been almost a year, and it's still rolling down the hill the wrong direction. It's not going well. He needs to fix it.
Yeah, and I guess the sad thing is, there are hundreds of thousands of emails from people who legitimately need help and don't know how to get it and receive no response to it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, well. What's next?
All right. Dallas Mavericks owner Mark Cuban thought he had found a solution to the issue of kneeling during the national anthem. The Shark Tank star this week, actually at the start of the season, changed the Mavericks' pregame operations to not include the playing of the Star-Spangled Banner. So it seems like problem solved, right? We don't have a kneeling controversy because we just won't play the song. But after doing it for 13 games, the NBA reversed course and said they are now requiring all teams to play the anthem before each home game. What say you, Brandon, on this policy from the NBA?
Tyler, how many things in this country do we have that are supposed to unite us? How many things do we have that everybody should just be like, you know what? We can do this together. Okay, I can't think of very many. You know what one was? Standing during the national anthem and being patriotic.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, wow, thank you for letting us live in this free country where we can have these awesome sports. I can chug a beer from the concession stand and eat so many hot dogs and popcorn that I'm going to explode. That used to be a thing where everybody could be on the same page and just say, you know what, forget everything else. For 1 minute of my time, let's all come together and do one thing together. How many more opportunities do we get in the world to do that? Zero. We don't get them. And now that opportunity is just being squandered here by Cuban. I don't know what he's doing. I like Mark Cuban. I like Shark Tank. I watch it all the time.
Yeah, me too.
But, I mean, some people would say, well, by not playing it, you're doing exactly what the people that are protesting maybe want, or at least some of them. I don't know. So it's almost like you're caving to that. I think you just you put it back out. You play it. It's one thing for 1 minute of our lives where we can all come together in the stands. You should play it.
Yeah. Well, here's my question.
Yes.
Why are sporting events the only event that we go to where we expect to hear the national anthem? Like you don't go to a concert and hear the national anthem. You don't go to a movie or a play or anything. You don't go anywhere. Like when you go to your job, they don't have everybody come together and play the national anthem.
It'd be awesome if they did.
Like these athletes, they're this is their job. Like no other profession requires the national anthem. Why is it just at sporting events? I actually applaud Mark Cuban for trying to make this not a controversy, like trying to protect his players from having to even deal with the do they or don't they.
So you think he didn't think this would be a controversy?
Well, it was already going to be a controversy.
I know, but he just made it another one, specifically for his team.
But, I mean, I like the idea. Like, why do we need to play the national anthem at sporting events?
Well, it's different than going to work as an accountant, right? It's different because you have competition. You have people yelling, screaming, cheering, arguing, fighting, all these things. But it's like, hey, chill out for 1 minute. We're not going to do that. We're all going to stand together, even if we're cheering for different teams, even if you don't like the referee, even if you hate the coach, these players are going to yell and scream at each other for 1 minute before that. It's like a peaceful, okay, let's remember we're all in this together, like Andy Bashir would say. We're all in this together. Let's keep that in mind, and now let's go fight like hell and try to win the game. So I think it's different than going into an office setting in that sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Somewhat. I mean, but again, this wasn't something that's always been the case. I think it happened sometime in the mid 1900s or something. It was implemented to start playing this at some sporting event. So it's not like it's always been around.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if you've grown up with it, it's hard to pull it out from under me.
Right.
In my opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah, and it really is the only place that you ever hear the national anthems. Like if we take it away from sporting events, when else would you ever hear it? We would never hear the national anthem.
I'd just say, heaven forbid we'd want to bring the country together for 1 minute. I mean, 1 minute's way too long.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Tyler, that's just me.
All right, what's next?
Tyler, America's right-hand man, Larry Flynt, the creator of Hustler and staunch First Amendment advocate, passed away at the age of 78. Tyler, any great Larry Flynt memories?
He was actually a Kentuckian, which a lot of people don't. Did you know he was born in Magoffin County?
I had heard that, but I didn't know if that was 100% true. Is that true?
I'm assuming that. I looked it up on Wikipedia last night, so I assume it's true.
Okay. Yeah, it's got to be true. If it's
apparently, he still owns some land in Magoffin County.
That's great. I don't want to know what all Larry Flint owns, to be honest with you. That would be an interesting thing, going down his list of what he owns. But, I mean, he was an innovator, for sure, in an area that probably a lot of people in Kentucky shy away from, or at least don't talk about, would be a safe way to put it. But, I mean, what are your thoughts just on his impact on society? Do you think he has a lasting impact on society? I mean, he was a very vocal First Amendment person. He obviously put out a magazine that was a little racier than your typical high-end Playboy magazine.
Sure.
Do you think that's resonating? It's 2021 now.
I mean, in his day, yeah. But, I mean, I think if you asked anybody under the age of 30 who Larry Flint was, I don't think anybody would have any idea. So as far as having a lasting impact or legacy, I don't think there's going to be much of one. I guess he's probably most known for would be the pictures of Jackie Kennedy, right? When the paparazzi got a picture of her sunbathing and he published them in Hustler without her permission.
Yeah.
As far as I know, she's the only former first lady to have been in Hustler. I don't know. Martha Washington might have been in that one. I'm not sure. But
what do you think it was called back when Martha Washington was doing it? There wasn't Hustler. What do you think it was called? I think that was back when, like, if you showed an ankle, you probably got like a lash.
Farmer
magazine or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this really derailed quickly. But yeah, I don't know that he has a lasting impact. But I mean, while he was alive, he had the movie The People versus Larry Flint, had Woody Harrelson in it. So at one point in time, he was a pretty big deal. And I like people that push the limits on things and try to see where the line is. Some people think he may have crossed the line in a lot of areas, but I like people that push things to the limit, man.
Well, he certainly did that.
Yes, he did.
No doubt. So rest in peace, Larry Flint.
Yes.
All right, Brandon, you are a big music guy.
Absolutely.
I would probably put you as the friend I have who probably knows the most about music.
Okay.
Like if I was on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and I had a lifeline about a music question, you would be the person I would call.
I appreciate that, Tom.
So I wanted to get your thoughts.
Okay.
The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just announced their nominees for 2021. There were a lot of them. So we probably don't have time to go through them all, but I want to hit some of the kind of the top of the list.
Okay, give me the lineup.
But before we start, Brandon, you got something on your shoulder right there. You might want to just brush that off. Yeah, just brush that dirt off your shoulder. Jay-Z has been nominated for the 2021 class. He's kind of the headliner. So I'll just kind of go through these names. You give me a yes or no and a why if you want.
Okay.
So first off, yes or no, Jay-Z, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Even though he's not really rock and roll?
Well, I'll get into that in just a second.
Okay. All right. Then we also have Carole King.
Probably.
Okay. Tina Turner.
Yeah.
Tina Turner gets a yes. Mary J. Blige.
No.
Is a no. Okay. I guess I need to be writing these down. You got a no?
I am. I got it.
Okay. Devo. The scene Whip It. Whip It Good.
No. No.
No for Devo. That's disappointing. How about the Foo Fighters?
Absolutely. No doubt.
All right. The Go-Go's.
No.
Go-Go's are a no-no.
They're a no-go.
Iron Maiden.
Yes.
Iron Maiden gets a yes. Okay. Shaka Khan.
No.
I knew that would be a no from you. All right. Next we got LL Cool J.
Oh, boy.
Oh, we got a tough one here.
That's on my maybe.
Maybe. Okay. And then the last one I had was Rage Against the Machine.
Gosh, that's another one that's kind of iffy. I don't think first time on, no.
Okay,
they're going to have to
you're
wait.
A no on this ballot.
Even though I'm a big Rage fan.
So you've got Jay-Z, Tina Turner, Foo Fighters, Iron Maiden, and a maybe for LL Cool J.
Yeah, that's correct. That sounds right. Let me give my thing here. Okay, so first of all, do I think rap needs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Probably not. But here's the thing. There's already rap artists in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah, precedent's been set.
Precedent's been set. So it doesn't matter what I think anymore. Otherwise, you would just have a pop music or popular music Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. When you think rock and roll, you think a band that actually plays instruments and stuff like that.
Yeah, the Beatles.
But the precedent's already been set, so that's why Jay-Z. And LL Cool J, he had some good songs, but I think Jay-Z's been a more prolific writer. Iron Maiden's one of the best heavy metal bands. If you're interested in heavy metal at all, consistent for like 30 or 40 years. They're still touring now, and they're selling out stadiums all over the world. So you have to look at their impact on society, which is why I knocked Devo out. Nobody walks around with those red hats like from the Devo video and does anything. It's a load of baloney. Devo does not deserve to be in. Mary J. Blige, I'm sure she's really nice, but no. The Foo Fighters have been around since the mid-'90s, and they are still touring and selling out places like crazy. So it can't just be, the smartest writer in the room. It has to be cultural impact. How many people come to see their shows? How many people buy records? And let me tell you the other reason I think you have to start letting rap artists in. Because in about 10 years, there's not going to be any more rock artists to induct because they all suck right now. I tell you what, when the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame gets to Nickelback, that'll be your last band in. I think they'll just be like, you know what? We're done. We let Nickelback in. We let Creed in. That's the next shoe to drop, Creed. Once you let Nickelback and Creed in, you might as well stop that and just move on to rap and R&B and whatever else. Because you're done.
I can't wait for the day Nickelback gets inducted.
The day that Nickelback headlines the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame class, they need to shut their door the next day.
Just put up the yellow tape across the door.
Truth be told, I've been to a Nickelback concert, and it was good.
I have, too. I thought it was good, too.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed you said no on the Go-Go's.
Why?
I like the Go-Go's.
Okay. Name more than 5 songs from the Go-Go's.
Oh, jeez. I couldn't name 5 Jay-Z songs.
Okay.
But you put Jay.
How many top
name
hits?
me 5 Jay-Z songs there, Mister. I think Jay-Z needs to be in.
How many top 10 songs do you think Jay-Z's had?
I don't know, probably 30.
Okay. How many do you think the Go-Go's have had?
Probably at least a couple.
Okay, great. They're 2 times better than Devo. Right? We just talked about Devo. They're twice as good as Devo, apparently, right? Devo had Whip It.
Yep. The Go-Go's had We Got the Beat.
Our Lips Are Sealed, Vacation.
There's 3.
What else you got?
I mean...
So you only need 3 songs to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well,
is that all it takes?
I just like them.
Jeez. So the hill that Tyler is going to die on is the Go-Go's.
I had a Go-Go poster hanging in my room when I was growing up.
Yeah, the one that I'm starting to lean more towards Rage Against the Machine getting in, but I don't think they're a first ballot.
Okay.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think they just need to wait because I think the first ballot people need to have some respect. It needs to be like undeniable. Like these people have got to be in first ballot, kind of like baseball Hall of Famers, right? There are certain first ballot Hall of Famers that it's a no-brainer. But the other ones, they need to wait 2 or 3 years. I'm a big Rage fan, but I don't think they deserve to be in quite yet. Tina Turner, I mean, she's had a career for 20, 30 years, and she had to put up with Ike Turner for Pete's sake. So I just let her in because of that. He was a jerk.
I think Tina Turner is. I think if I were ranking them, I think she'd be the top of my list, and the Foo Fighters from this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean that's kind of interesting, Tyler. I'm glad we went through that little exercise.
We'll do this again next year.
Yeah, Tyler. Interesting story here. I think it was Richard Nixon that said, "I'm not a crook."
Yes.
And Charles Barkley said, "I'm not a role model" in the '90s. Right. Mm-hmm. Well, in 2021, we have "I'm not a cat."
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's right. Tyler, the viral video of the attorney on a Zoom call with a cat filter on has blown up all over the country. The attorney could not figure out how to turn his face off from the cat filter setting and had to proceed with the court proceedings as a cat and famously stated, "I'm sorry, I'm not a cat," just to make sure that everything was clear. And just when you thought that was the top video for 2021, we have another one with, I think it was a TV camera footage of a mom basically football tackling a peeping Tom. Caught right on camera. The peeping Tom looking into her daughter's window. Tyler, you've seen both clips, and we'll play them all. We'll play both of them behind us. What do you think? I mean, these are 2 great clips for 2 totally different reasons.
They were great.
Which one are you going with, and why?
All right, this may be controversial because the cat video has definitely already made its way more. I saw like Kentucky Brandon's already got a "I'm not a cat" T-shirt that they're selling.
Yeah.
So that seems to be the one that's going to resonate more pop culture wise. But I actually like the Texas mom tackling the peeping Tom more.
You do? Okay.
Because that was 100% real. I always base a video like could this video have been set up as just like fake, like that you could have set up the filter and like, oh, I'm going to do this for my court. This will be funny. Hey, that was 100% real. This mom, it was the police dash cam footage, I think, is what it was from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
so,
yeah.
So this mom catches a peeping Tom looking in her teenage daughter's bedroom, calls the police. The police are there, and I guess
That's right.
the dude starts to run away. So rather than let the police take care of it, she's like, no. I'm going to take matters into my own hands.
Yep.
And if you watch her, she like lines him up. She gets to where she's at the perfect angle. She gets a full bear hug wrap around this dude. This was like Brian Urlacher type tackling.
This was a legal NFL hit. No hands to the face, no below the knee. It was a straight up tackle. It reminded me of the end of Waterboy when Bobby Boucher's mom tackled his dad at the end. I mean, it was straight up, perfect angle. Nailed it.
It was. I mean, that's. I'm sure that's exactly how Mark Stoops teaches his defenders to take. He could just show that film in spring training. Say, all right, guys, this is how I want you to tackle, like this mom in Texas tackled this.
Absolutely
Tom.
killed it. Now, I'm going to go on the other side and say that I like the cat filter because you can hear the panic in the attorney's voice. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm not sure how to. And you can see the eyes on the cat moving too, so it makes you think, what's behind that face? Because the cat's eyes are moving. And I'm sorry, I'm not a cat. I mean, you cannot beat that. Just because the tone of the voice, the panic that you hear, and you know that filter is going to show up in every Zoom call that you have for work moving on. Somebody's going to figure out how to use that cat filter. And they're going to start the Zoom call, hey, guys, I'm not a cat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, be prepared for every Zoom meeting you have for the next few weeks because somebody's going to have that cat filter on.
So this is a good lesson in making sure you're prepared, right? Making sure you're prepared. Make sure you don't have filters on. One thought I did have was I wonder if somebody sabotaged and put the cat filter on knowing that the attorney wouldn't know how to turn it on.
So you've got another conspiracy theory here.
I'm just saying, wouldn't that be a great way? Maybe it was somebody's last day at the office and they're like, I'm going to show old Greg. He's been a pain in my ass for a long time. I'm going to put this cat filter on. He's got a big case today. And that could have been what happened. I would like to hear the story behind it because it had to get placed on there somehow. I want to know how the cat filter arrived on the screen.
But you're exactly right. Even though it is a cat face, you can still somehow see the panic on his face. I don't know how it happened.
Yeah,
but you can see the panic in his eyes.
Well, I think the eyes and the mouth move with the filter.
Yeah,
and it's so funny.
And then he's like, "But I'm ready to proceed, if you all are."
Do you think he won the case? Do we know how that went?
I don't even know.
I want to know
what happened after that.
I would love to know how that went. But very interesting videos nonetheless. I really enjoyed them. And, if 2021's starting off this hot with viral videos, I can't wait to see what the rest of the year
Yeah,
holds.
we already had the Ice-T guy. I mean, we got some good videos so far this year.
Great ones. Speaking of great videos, Tyler, segment 3, we're going to talk about the movies that scarred us as children.
Yes.
Are you as excited as I am to talk about that?
No, because I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
I know. It's going to be crazy. I'm interested to see how we come about this, this list. I think we're going to do 3 each. Is that right? So we'll get to that. We covered a lot of stuff in segment 2. Stay tuned. We will be right back after the break.
Welcome back. Episode 44, the Dakari Johnson edition of the Lex Bud Pick and Roll podcast.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that coming at all, Tyler.
44. That's the only basketball player I know. Well, Chuck Hayes also number 44.
Hayes? Yeah, that sounds right. Why didn't you say Chuck Hayes?
I don't know.
He seems to be a much more prominent figure. But
because I always enjoyed, was it T.J. Beisner? Every time Dakari Johnson would make a bucket, he'd say, Dakari Johnson moves more guys than 2 guys in a truck, and he's just one guy with no truck. I always thought that was really funny.
That is pretty funny. I like it a lot.
But, Brandon, we have an exciting segment 3 planned. And what brought this topic about? This week brought back to life one of the staples of mine and yours, and I assume most of our listeners, of our childhood, which was Nickelodeon's Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
They did a reboot. I think they're doing just a few episodes, kind of a limited release.
I'm so excited.
But the first one came out this week. So it got me thinking about how much you and I used to stay up on Saturday night and watch Are You... Can you just kind of give us what did Are You Afraid of the Dark mean to you as a kid?
Tyler, first of all, it was part of SNCC. Right?
Yes,
it was Nickelodeon kind of at night. It was Are You Afraid of the Dark? It was Roundhouse, which is where we got introduced to Kenan Thompson.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was a big day. It was kind of like watching TGIF back in the day too, right? I mean,
was.
These are the the cornerstones of my childhood. And Are You Afraid of the Dark was great because, they would have that, we submit this story for approval for the Midnight Society, and then they would put the ashes in the fire and it would blow up, and then it would give you the title. And they weren't like horror movie scary stories, but that for kids, they're pretty darn scary.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to look forward to that all the time. I like a good scare. And, some of the movies that I watched growing up scared me a little too much and left me a little scarred, to be honest. I don't know if you feel the same way, but...
No, 100%. As a kid, the back-to-back weekend of TGIF on Friday and then SNCC on Nickelodeon on Saturday, it didn't get any better.
No.
And because, SNCC, I think it started at like 8 o'clock.
Yep.
You had your, like you said, the Roundhouse, maybe some Clarissa Explains It All, or Pete and Pete, all those shows.
Ren and Stimpy, I think.
Ren and Stimpy, yes. But all of that to me was just the build-up, the crescendo to the climax at 9:30 when Are You Afraid of the Dark came on. It was always the last one. During the summer, it's still daytime, still sunlight outside when SNCC started.
Yep.
But as the night started to get darker, it was getting time for Are You Afraid of the Dark? And just like you said, the catchphrase is submitted for the approval of the Midnight Society.
Oh, man, it was so
the
good.
Tale of the zombie clown alien.
Scary already, Tom. Spooked already. Whew. Give me chills.
And like you said, it was... I mean, some of the stuff was pretty scary for a young kid. The special effects, the makeups on some of the monsters and creatures they had on there was pretty good. Did you have a favorite Are You Afraid of the Dark show memory?
Oh, gee. I mean, I just liked all. I liked them all, Tyler. I know that sounds like you remember on on Office Space. It says, what's your favorite Michael Bolton song? I don't know. I guess I kind of like them all.
Exactly.
It's actually true with Are You Afraid of the Dark. There was never really a time where I watched the show and I was like, oh, that was terrible. I was on the edge of my seat at 9:30 every time.
Yep.
I mean, they were all good. What about you? Did you have one?
I think my favorite was the one where the kids worked at the old movie theater with the crazy owner, and he played the vampire movie
Tyler.
where the vampire comes out of the screen and comes to life.
I can't believe
it's kind of like
that.
The Ring, only 20 years ago.
They were innovative.
It was. They were ahead of their time.
So that brought up a topic. You sent me a topic, and I was like, well, this is perfect. Because you and I were texting back and forth about this Are You Afraid of the Dark thing. We're both jacked up about it. We're really excited. And you sent over a topic, Tyler. What was that topic?
Which is, what movies scarred you as a child? Now, I think it's safe to say you and I probably watched a lot of horror movies before we should have been watching horror movies. I think that's safe to say.
That's a possibility.
Growing up in a small town, we didn't have a whole lot of video rental stores. But there was a video store inside of the Food City.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Next to my house. And you and I would go over there on like a Friday or Saturday night. They had a special deal where you could rent 5 movies for 5 nights for $5. Mm-hmm. And we would just go rent 5 horror movies and watch them all weekend. So, needless to say, we have had a lot of traumatic experiences in our childhood from the Food City video store.
But look at where we are today.
Exactly. Here we are.
This list is going to explain a lot about who we are, Tyler. I think we each picked our top 3 movies that have scarred us. Is that correct?
So we'll go back and forth and share which movies scarred us the most. I'm going to go first.
Yeah, you came up with the idea, Tyler. So why don't you lead us off? What movie is this going to be? The one that scarred you the most to the least, or how are you doing it?
Yeah, we'll do most to least because they all kind of did in different ways.
Okay,
and I'll explain as we go through.
Well, let's hear what you got.
The first one I'm going to say, number 1 by far, the one that terrified me from doing a common experience is Jaws.
I knew it. Daggone, I knew it.
Because Jaws made me terrified to even go in a swimming pool.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, I somehow, I could be in a swimming pool in Kentucky and somehow think that Jaws was going to tunnel through from the Atlantic Ocean underground into the city pool where I was swimming. I was just terrified. Anytime I put my head underwater, I would just expect to see a great white shark about to eat my arm off. I mean, it literally made you terrified of any experience on the water. Swimming pools, lakes.
Let me give you another water experience.
Any set of water.
Let me tell you a water experience I was afraid of.
All right.
When I was younger, my brother had a waterbed. I was afraid to get in the waterbed because of Jaws. I was. I ran, like when I was really little, I would run and just jump in the water, or the water bed, because I thought Jaws was going to come out from underneath the bed. Or maybe he was in the water. I wasn't for sure.
He might have already been in the bed.
He may have been in the water. I was sleeping on Jaws. These are the kind of things that kept me up at night when I was a kid. And I still only go like knee deep in the water because of Jaws.
Yeah.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, Tyler.
And you could hear the music too when you were swimming. You could hear the dun 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 dun. Like I would just hear that playing in my head, and so I think that scarred me. Just from what should have been a fun activity as a kid, I was terrified to do.
Yeah, that is a great one. And truth be told, Tyler, didn't you say that was either your favorite or one of your 2 or 3
and
favorite
it is
movies?
Probably my favorite movie of all time.
I still watch every time it's on. I still watch the daggum thing. I don't know why.
Me too.
Well,
all right,
Tyler,
what do you got for your number one?
All right, so my number one, Tyler, is one that I remember this very vividly. I was sitting with my mom on the couch, and we were going through the old TV guide. And I saw this movie. It was about a dog, and it was about, a dog that gets crazy or something. I was like, Mom, I want to watch that tonight. Okay, yeah, we'll watch it. So I sat on the couch in my living room and turned on Cujo.
Oh, no.
As a young child.
Oh, no.
I thought it was going to be a fun dog movie, Tyler.
I thought it was going to be like Homeward Bound or Old Yeller or something.
This was not that. Okay, I was in for a rude surprise. And the music, when I think about the music in that show quite a bit, it's frightening. And I remember, growing up in the hills, you're outside, you're just playing. I mean, there's dogs that run around. I mean, there's animals that run around all the time. I always thought, wow, what if he's like right down the end of the holler there where I can't see, just waiting on me to run back in the house. So I would run back in the house as fast as I could because it's like, what if he's behind me? He's got a head start. I got to get going. Petrified me, Tyler. And to this day, I'll be honest, I don't really care for dogs that much. And I think it has to do with this movie. My expectations were way off on what this movie was going to be. This is one of my first memories of watching a movie, and it has scarred me for life.
Yeah, there's so many things I like about that story. One, the fact that you were looking through the TV guide. Dude, I really miss TV guides, by the way.
Love it.
TV guide was the great. Like, you would get your TV guide a week ahead of time. I used to go through and circle everything for the whole week that I wanted to watch in the TV guide.
I remember you used to do that. I remember your TV guides. You're daggone
It'd be
right.
marked up with everything I wanted to watch that week.
Yep.
But I'm also terrified of big dogs, in part because of Cujo, so I can 100% relate to that one. I hate big dogs.
Well, it's interesting. I didn't even know if that one would have scarred you or you would have been scared. So and now I know.
I think, yeah. Interesting. We both chose movies with animals for our first one.
Gosh, that is interesting, Tyler. Who would have thought?
Big dogs and big sharks.
Big dogs and big. That's right. Do you want me to do the next one, or you?
Oh, go for it, man.
Okay, Tyler. So if I'm looking at round 2, since you went first in round 1, I'll go first in round 2. This was a movie again that I did not see coming. Not totally prepared for it. It sounded like an interesting movie. The premise of it was, kind of. I thought it was going to be like a haunted mansion. Kind of movie. Like, okay, this sounds like a lot of fun. There's ghosts, and it's going to be like, kind of scary. Like, kind of, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I like Scooby-Doo.
Yeah. Oh, this is great. A haunted mystery mansion. This is great. And boy, about an hour or so into it, I was so petrified, I couldn't even stand up to turn the tape off at the end. The tape. You heard me say tape. This was on video cassette. I was afraid to get near the tape. Because I was worried about what would happen. I thought that I'd just seen something so evil, and it petrified me so much that I could barely sleep. And that movie, Tyler, is The Shining.
Oh, I should have known.
Tyler, when I saw those 2 little girls in the hallway, when he's riding that little, big wheel, I saw those girls, I was like, oh, cool, somebody's going to play with them. And then they show them chopped up with hatchets. I almost lost my you-know-what. And I cannot watch that movie by myself now. I'm a 38-year-old man. If that movie's on, I will not watch it by myself. I can't even watch the edited version on TV where they cut out all the bad stuff.
Oh, wow.
I can't watch it. It petrifies me. There's so much imagery in that movie that is just disturbing.
It is. I think the scariest scene, the best scene in that movie is when she finds all of his writing and it's just all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Just written thousands of times in different fonts and different styles. And you just think about the time it took for him to sit and type all that.
That gives me chills right now. And it's got
terrifying.
that creepy music playing in the background.
Yes.
And, give me the bat. Give me the bat.
Wendy, darling,
Light
of my life.
I'm not going to hurt you. I'm just going to bash your... Oh, God. And I was a little kid watching this. I wasn't ready for that. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. I was not prepared for this. I know the movie came out, I think, in 79 or 80. Mm-hmm. I was about 8 or 9 years old when I watched it the first time and lost my stuff. I thought, I don't know what I was thinking trying to watch that.
Yeah, that's a solid pick. And that is also, if I'm ranking my favorites, that's got to be in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, I did not know that. I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorites too.
All right, I'm going for my next one. I'm going completely off the radar, off the whole style we've been going with so far.
Okay.
Because the question is, what scarred you?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say, what scared you.
That's correct.
So we could be talking about physical scarring or emotional scarring, which is where I'm going with this one.
Okay.
One of the saddest moments of my childhood is when I watched a movie about a young dinosaur. And this young dinosaur, his mother passes away during a battle with a T-Rex, with the shark tooth. And young Littlefoot, the dinosaur, has to crawl up to his mom, who has been injured so badly she's about to die. And she tells young Littlefoot, to be brave, to go find the Great Valley, and that her spirit will always be with him to guide him. And I thought this was the most depressing thing I was not ready for this. I'm a kid. We're of course talking about the movie The Land Before Time. One of my absolute favorite movies as a kid. I had to watch it at least 100 times. But that scene, man, that still gets me. When Littlefoot's mom died, it's kind of like in The Lion King when Mufasa dies. But I was so much younger the first time I saw Land Before Time than when I saw Lion King. I mean, I was like 5 years old, I think. Was that like late 80s when that came out?
Oh, yeah, it was we were 5, 6 years old.
Yeah. Like that got me, man. I was not, because no other cartoon had like, the mom dying at the beginning. That just really stuck with me for a long time.
Tyler,
very sad.
You see this title that I have circled? That says The Land Before Time.
No way.
I'm not kidding you. That's why I almost lost it when you started saying a young dinosaur, because that's on my list.
Wow.
That movie really is a gut wrencher. And a lot of people say, well, what about Bambi? Right? Bambi's mom gets shot too.
True.
But to me, that wasn't in my age range so much. The Land Before Time was really in, I think, our wheelhouse.
Yep.
It came out at just the right time. I remember Pizza Hut had the Land Before Time, like puppets, like rubbery puppet kind of things. Yep. Talk about a huge movie, and boy, Shark Tooth, I could have really ticked me off. It was a gut wrencher. I was not prepared for it. A lot of these on our list are things I'm just not ready for.
Yes.
Like maybe if I knew that was going to happen, I would be okay. But the fact that the expectation was that this was going to be a fun dinosaur movie kind of makes it different, because you just get the rug pulled out from under you,
Yeah, you do. And we 100%, we always had our birthday parties at Pizza Hut, and they had like the Land Before Time theme, I think, for at least 5 years.
It was a good one.
You'd get the puppets, you get the cake, the Land Before Time. It was just a great time, but man, that scene,
gut wrencher,
still gets me.
Tyler, let's move on to your third one. Let's do our final ones.
Okay.
What scarred you, Tyler?
All right.
Let's hear about it. Therapy session here.
I'm going to cheat a little bit, because this one was mostly a TV show, but there were several movies, so it is technically a movie.
Okay.
And I still, to this day, have an occasional nightmare where I dream that this character is chasing me and just will not stop.
Really?
And I'm talking about a character that was just a man, a very big man, in green makeup. And that is the Incredible Hulk.
Are you talking about the Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk?
The Lou Ferrigno, Bill Bixby Incredible Hulk TV show, which I loved. And I loved all the movies that they did.
Oh, look, you and I watched the heck out of that show.
Oh, yeah. But there's just something about the fact that you can take a regular man and just paint him green and dye his hair green, and he can be called the Incredible Hulk. That was, I don't know, it's just not, it's not normal that you could make a person look like that.
That's what he really looked like. It was literally just green body paint.
Yeah.
That was him. That was, talk about a big dude. You just put body paint on me, I would not look like the Incredible Hulk.
No.
You know, that's not what I wonder what my superhero name would be if you painted me with green paint. But you know, it was kind of scary because he had that crazy look in his eye. And
The green eyes.
Bill Bixby did a really good job with that too, because he would have that look into camera like, oh, I'm gonna break somebody's neck. You know what I mean? But so you're saying you still have nightmares today of that?
Yes, I will just have random dreams that, you know, I'll go to my front door and answer it, and there's the Incredible Hulk standing there. And
you are kidding me, Ty. When's the last time you had this dream?
I mean,
I want to know.
I don't know.
This is therapy here, Ty.
I mean, I would say I at least have 1 or 2 a year.
You dream 1 or 2 times a year that the Incredible Hulk is going to show up at your door and destroy everything.
And just starts chasing me. But I can never get away from him.
Gosh.
He just keeps coming. He won't stop.
Tyler, this sounds petrifying. I don't even know what to say about that. I mean, that sounds...
But yeah, so that's my last one. You know, I've gone, you know, it's what's made me sad and what has made me scared to go swimming and then what has made me scared to go to sleep.
Well,
kind of 3 different areas.
All right, let me give you one, Tyler. Mine's going to stay on the scary theme. But again, it's one that I saw much too early.
Okay.
A common theme here. I had older brothers that rented scary movies too, so I would just get them and watch them when they weren't paying attention.
Yep.
So going on with that theme, this is something that still carries with me today. Okay? I still have issues with this to this day because it petrified me that much at the time. And I still think about that scene very often because it is just freaky as heck. Okay? This is a movie that came out in the 70s. It has John Travolta. Are you getting any hints here? It's not Saturday Night Fever, which could be traumatic, I guess.
Yeah, in its own way.
This is a Stephen King movie, and it is none other than Carrie.
Oh, yeah, I forgot he was in that. Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I forgot about
See,
John
the
Travolta
little trivia
in that
there. The movie itself is very scary, and I remember watching it when I was very young, thinking, "Okay, this is horrific, petrifying." The last 30 minutes of that movie, I still can't hardly watch by myself.
Really?
It really disturbs me badly. But then when I think the movie's over, as a young child, I think that the movie's over, and it cuts to that scene where like everything's like kind of in white and everything's kind of happy, like, oh, thank God that's all over. And at the end, when she goes to lay the flowers down at the graveyard, and Carrie's hand pops out, I thought the movie was over. Okay, I thought the movie was done. I was like, oh, now I can relax.
You made it. I survived.
Again, expectations. This is the problem. I had expectations that the movie was drawing to a close. And I started to relax for a second, thinking, God, I really don't want to turn the tape off. This is really scary. Well, I guess I got to do it in a minute. I'll just relax. And then all of a sudden her hand pops out, grabs the girl's arm, and the music playing behind it. And the ending scene of it panning out of that happening, I still have issues with that today.
Interesting. What is it about Carrie specifically that is it just the fact that she can do things with her mind?
No, that part didn't even scare me. It was just the absolute chaos and killing and all that. And then the end scene, and when I go back and watch it now, there are little clues that tell you the movie's not over. If you go back and watch it, I don't know if you want to go back and do this, but in that scene at the end when the girl's walking with the flowers, walking towards her grave, there's a truck driving backwards in slow motion.
Huh.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be a dream kind of sequence. And I didn't, as a kid, you don't notice details like that.
No, I've
and
never
you notice some color changes in the sky and stuff that I didn't notice when I was little. But you go back and watch it now, there's all kinds of clues that maybe I should have known. But as a kid, I'm thinking, great, movie's over. Nope, Carrie's going to kill us all, damn it. She didn't get enough killing done the first time. She's going to come to my house. She's going to crack open my door, stab me with knives, kill my whole family, and I'm not going to be able to sleep for the next 30 years. And lo and behold, that's what happened.
Wow. I had no idea Carrie was so frightening. Because to me, Carrie wasn't really that scary of a movie, I didn't think. So it's interesting how...
It's a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of the shine. That's why I like The Shining. It's more of a mental thing. It's not the blood and the gore. It's the mental problem.
Yes.
It really disturbs me.
That's interesting. Kind of like the Friday the 13th scene where Jason jumps out at the end in the lake.
Yeah, this was way better, though.
Yeah.
No, well, I don't know. That was a good one, too. This is a very interesting list, Tyler.
Yes. And now everyone knows why what's wrong with us. Now,
what is wrong with you? Yeah, it's like Carrie's mom said, they're all going to laugh at you. They're all going to laugh at you. Right? Maybe everybody's laughing at us now that we've done our dream analysis, our sleep analysis, and our therapy session.
I think somebody could do a study just on this segment.
Let's submit this. If there are any doctors, or if you know a doctor, or you want to play one on TV, let us know what you think that our movies mean. How did we get here?
Yes. Why are we the way that we are?
I can't believe you still think that the Hulk is going to chase you, Tyler.
I know, because the Hulk only goes after bad guys.
That's what I was going to ask. He's a good guy.
Yeah. But he was a scary
Is
good
it
guy.
the Bill Bixby Hulk, or is it the Lou Ferrigno when he's Green Hulk? Or is it a combination of the two?
No, it's always just the Lou Ferrigno. I never see Bill. Just Lou.
Just Lou. What if you ever got to meet him in person? Because he's still alive. And from everything I understand, Lou Ferrigno, very nice guy. Does that change your opinion at all?
No, I would be. I couldn't go. I couldn't. No, I couldn't.
Now,
go,
wait a minute.
I couldn't go within 10 feet of Lou Ferrigno.
No, Tyler, you're kidding me.
No. No, thank you.
You are kidding.
What, you going to go up to those two little girls, get your picture with them? No.
I mean, I would now.
From The Shining?
Because they're grown. They're grown and they're older.
Okay. How about Cujo? You going to get your picture with Cujo?
No, he would eat me, Tyler. You know this. Cujo's a real person.
Oh, it could be a real nice Saint Bernard.
Yeah, right. That's what he'd want you to think until he chewed your face off.
Oh, man.
What a show, Tyler. We have talked about what has scarred our lives in our childhood, which I think is important. We've talked UK wins, Trump impeachment, or non-impeachment, I should say, the national anthem, Larry Flynt, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, viral videos. I mean,
it's a full show.
You know, when people say, hey, what do you do on this show? I have a hard time telling them. I mean,
that's true.
Like, what do you do on that show? Everything that's awesome?
Yep.
That's kind of what we do here.
Yep, you just pick a topic, and we probably covered it at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go, Tyler, I think we do have to do an in memoriam segment to the Pizza Hut in Whitesburg, Kentucky. Another staple. We're speaking about our childhood. You mentioned the Pizza Hut birthday parties. Our Pizza Hut in Whitesburg, Kentucky is no longer, and I think it just deserves mentioning. So if you have a favorite memory from the Whitesburg Pizza Hut, please share them, because we had a ton during our childhood.
Yeah, unfortunately, another victim of restaurants who have fallen over the last year. I guess they just couldn't keep the doors open anymore. But truly a staple of our childhood. Every birthday party for about 10 years was at that Pizza Hut in the party room, and every big sporting event. After we won the county championship in middle school, there was only one place to go, the Whitesburg Pizza Hut.
Yeah, give me a break. Where else are you going to go? I mean, it is the Whitesburg Pizza Hut. And Tyler, I ate so much pizza in there that when I go back in there, like I was in there a couple of years ago, like, hey, haven't seen you in here in a long time. I'm like, dude, I haven't been in here in 20 years. Like, you used to eat a lot of pizza. I remember that, huh? I did used to eat a lot of pizza. You're right, sir. But always the nicest people. I always had a great time going to Pizza Hut. You had the jukebox. You had the video games. You had Cruisin' USA in the arcade. You had your pinball games, the jukebox with the same 50 songs that were in there for the last 20 years.
Yep. And
you had the red cups. Do you remember the red plastic cup?
Oh, man.
I mean, that's how you knew you were at Pizza Hut.
Yep. After a big game, you have the whole team, coaches, parents, everybody. We would just fill the whole restaurant. Everybody would shove the tables together.
Loved it.
It was the best. We were kings. We were on top of the world. We just won a game. We've got our Pizza Hut deep dish pan pizza or our red plastic cups. Life was good.
Doesn't get much better.
Any better.
Yeah, it's like at the end of The Office when Andy says, I wish someone would tell you you're in the good old days before you're out of it. Pizza Hut is the good old days.
100%.
I mean, you don't get much better than that. But I had to bring that up, Tyler. We talked about childhood memories. Can't let that one go.
Yeah, it was very sad. Definitely a big part of our childhood died this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Tyler, for more unique content, our listeners should go to lexbuds.com. You can see our song up there. Again, our number one single is up there. You'll have this entire video podcast up as well, any new articles we put out through the week. Follow us on Twitter at LexBuds. Search your internet Google machines. Just type in LexBuds. I guarantee you'll find us. We are going to be there.
Yep. We will always be there.
And stay tuned. Episode 45 will be coming up next week, and we will see you on the next episode. Stay classy, Kentucky.